Hey, Tyler.
How are you doing, sir? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I know, steady away. Bit of a
All right.
quiet day. So I try and make Sunday a bit of a quiet day for myself because
I think that's very necessary, to be
it's
honest.
Sunday.
Yeah, it is Sunday. I mean, Monday here, but whatever. What is it, man?
Yeah, well, you're a crazy
Oh,
human who's up at funny hours, but you know, I can't blame you. Sometimes I'm up at that time, equivalent time. So
yeah, you
as
don't
long
say.
as as long as you're not keeping anyone else awake, it's fine.
Nobody's up at this ungodly hour, man. Especially in my house. I mean, I stay with like my siblings and my parents, right, which is like right now, but nobody's up, just me. But yeah, I didn't get these dark circles for no reason. So yeah, I'm
Try and
just
try and talk quiet and then make sure we don't
yeah,
disturb anyone.
exactly. So
And
Otto's
it's
joining.
only 11 o'clock for me, but my girlfriend's just gone to bed. But other than that, no one
Okay.
out.
All right. Is Otto joining us?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll start.
Okay.
We'll start. Actually, I'll just put a ping out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So where you based out of? In the UK, right? Is that right?
Yeah, UK, the north
Right.
part of the UK. For now, I'm
Nice.
moving
Oh, that's right.
shortly down. I'm moving down
All right.
south, so not
Nice,
through any
nice.
change going on. But you know, what about you?
Absolutely. I'm technically I work in Bombay, but given the COVID situation, I'm back with my folks right now until the whole situation stabilizes. So right now in Bangalore.
Just to keep safe and to help out with family because
Precisely.
it's sensible to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm living with my dad and I have been since late in last year. But that's the COVID situation kind of made us go, we'll just stay here for now.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's all mental.
Yeah, it is mental.
Absolutely mental. Anyways, so do you want to start? I normally start, but I'm going to put it on you this time.
Yeah, sure. Let's start.
Tell me a bit about yourself and what your thoughts are, and then I'll
Okay.
do my bit.
Okay. Wow, that's a nice vague question. Okay, let me start. Like I've told you before, I've done marketing for the past 3 years right now. It's been a hell of a journey. Like I have a demanding job. It's not funny. Like literally 5 minutes ago, I was just typing out stuff for my for the day tomorrow. So my job is pretty much like a part marketing, part product management. Like I'll have to get into the tech side of things sometimes. Help out my developers, get in touch with my designers for UX, UI, and all of that stuff. So it's pretty much project based. It goes from there. My expertise are so. Like I can't say, hey, this is my forte of sorts, but I do have some, luckily.
You sound a little bit like me, but we'll carry on with you and then I'll cover me.
Yeah, no worries. So the company I work for, like we operate like 5 to 6 brands. So all of them have cater to an audience which is part Pan Asia, North America.
Bands? Bands? Do you mean music bands?
No, brands. Sorry.
I thought you said bands. I'm like, you represent music? I mean, cool, man. I'm into music production, but I'm like, I didn't expect that.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry. Part of my accent, but yeah. So represent so I work for a web hosting company. Have you heard about this brand called Bluehost by any chance? Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah. So this is that company which sells WordPress websites and stuff like that. So
okay.
So similar brands. So I work for 4 brands, and it's all project based. My day could go anywhere between hey, let's set up onboarding communication workflow for like one of the brands to tomorrow. Hey, let's set up a WhatsApp automated communication system. So and then sometimes it's looking at web analytics, understanding where my audience is coming from, what is my funnel looking like, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much me. I've been doing this for 3 years currently. What about you?
Cool. I'm a bit of a generalist. a little bit like how you described, you do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Even within your role, there's like many hats you wear. I currently work in education in special needs in my like day job, quote unquote.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But for the last 6 years, I've worked with people with learning difficulties and learning disabilities. But it's often been around media. Like one of my long-term clients is really into media, graphic design, music production. So I've been doing classes with them for 6 years. I've been doing music production personally now for 15 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But before that, I did a little bit of graphic designy stuff. I've been in like gaming communities. I've done graphic design and animation, bits and bats. I'm not an expert in any of it. I can just turn my hand to it when it's needed. So I'm a bit of a generalist. I'm a bit of a generalist, but you know, I appreciate marketing and brand. You know, I'm one of the people who thinks about CoronaWhy as a brand, as an identity. As a, you know, I'm not the only one, but we think about the mission, the identity, the like the whole messaging thing. I'm very much in the communications vein of things. Around CoronaWhy, the majority of my work involves finding the right people for the right jobs and trying to work out what new people, when they turn up, what skills they have, where we can best utilize them. And we've been building a CRM system for the, you know, not customers, because they kind of are, but they kind of not. We're just using an open source CRM right now, and we've taken all of us, because we've got 1,200 members.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's a lot. Okay. Right.
But not all of them are active, and we need to work out how to get people active if they don't want to be active at all. You know, because we've also I've been working in Miro to try and work out what we do currently, and also like what's our messaging, what's our plan, and also how to define different groups. Because at one point everyone got onboarded the same way, but the way I see it, there's going to be some people who are going to join CoronaWhy out of curiosity, just to have a look around, just to see.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people are never going to be contributors, but they're perfect for things like you know, email news or newsletters, that sort of stuff, where we can give them an update of what's going on, and they don't have to dig through the weeds to work it out.
Precisely.
So that would be one group, and then we've also got another group who are people interested in our data and the data sets in the dataverse, so accessing that, or they might manage them. So they're kind of a little subgroup of the membership.
Okay, precisely.
And then we've got the active contributors, and even then you can divide them into various groups. But you've got you know, your developers, your machine learning experts, you know, your community managers, the team leaders, all of these kind of people. So it's about trying to understand. And I spend a majority of my time reading what everyone is talking about, trying to understand, you know, joining in with calls, working out what team's doing what, where the, you know, but it's a lot of like synthesizing all of that information, and I'm trying to understand the lay of the land. That's kind of what I do most of the time. So it's a little bit of a community manager, a little bit of a project manager kind of role, but it's I very much, because of, you know, my communication with special needs and learning difficulties, I very much bring a human center to it. And I'm doing a course right now in UX, so I'm trying to get better at like formal researching rather than just like my communication chat, try and work it out. So I'm trying to get a bit better at that. But that's kind of where we are right now. Have you got any questions about CoronaWhy in general?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a couple of them right now. So let's just talk about our volunteers, right? Out of that 1,200, we have like maybe 3 main segments of sorts, you know, and then there are, you know, obvious divisions in amongst them. So you know, there is a good reason why, you know, people kind of, you know, fall out or become passive contributors, or, you know, they don't do much, right? We need to understand why that is, right?
That's really important. Yeah,
exactly. So so how do you, I want to understand, how do you define somebody has, you know, someone is, you know, is a dormant contributor, like he joined or he or she joined a month ago and then hasn't been part of conversations, haven't, you know, made the basic interactions or, you know, introductions. So how do you kind of define that, and how do you kind of, you know, define that, to be honest?
If they're not interacting on Slack, that's basically Slack. The most obvious way. We have Slack analytics. Obviously, we can see how much everyone's using within a 30-day cycle. and we have an analytic of how much, like, for example, Arta has posted 17,000 messages in Slack in the last 3.5 months.
Wow. Okay.
I'm a rather steady 3,500 compared.
That's okay.
But at the same time, Arta types in one way and I type in another. I write big pieces. He writes like lots of everything.
Okay.
But so it's things like that gives us a little bit of a measuring point of how active they are. And we don't necessarily, I mean, I found someone recently and they had like 4,000 or 5,000 messages in Slack in a month and a half. And I searched and only saw one message from them. And that was in introductions. I'm like, where on earth are they talking?
Right.
And when I say this, I am nearly in every channel.
Yeah, precisely. I kind of assume that. Okay.
There's a few private channels that I'm probably not part of, but when I say a few, I can imagine there's only a handful of like 5 probably active channels that I am not part of.
Okay.
And I was like, where are these 3,000 messages I can't see?
Wow.
And it turns out that he was actively involved in a team and they've obviously got a private chat and I'm just not seeing it. But I was like, I reached out to them and then I reached out to the people he mentioned that he was working involved with, because I also don't, I assume everyone's here with goodwill and good intentions.
Precisely, right?
But that was a bit of that was like what is going on here? I've not only never seen this person say anything, but somehow they've managed to like outrank me in conversations double in a month when I've been here for like 3.5. And I'm like, Jesus, I mean, I'm around a lot, but that's intense. Turns out he's a really nice guy who was just really busy in some place. And I'm like, cool, absolutely. Keep up the good work sort of stuff. But yeah, these little things like that, human interactions. Talking to people, trying to work out what people are up to. But it's weird. But I've been trying to. Have you ever used Slack much? Do you know much about Slack?
Yeah. So we kind of used to use Slack in my company a year ago, and then we had a company policy, and we had to get onto Google Chats of sorts because Google was some kind of partner for us. So I used to use Slack. It used to be great. Now I don't. Now it's been a year since I used Slack, so. Still got a hang of it.
Because they've got a workflow builder, which is a semi-automatable or chatbot, but a very stripped down version of a chatbot system in there. And I've been trying to build like a welcome. Like it'll when you join when you join introductions, it'll give you you're welcome to CoronaWhy. Thank you for joining. Sort of bringing people in. But I've also been trying to think that this is a place where I can like spoon feed some of the information, these are the teams, this is what the teams are up to, but I'm trying to work out how to make that piecemeal. I mean, I really like what Typeform and how they can
Typeform.
I really like what Typeform does, where you can build like logic systems into it, like answer one way you get this path, answer another way you get another path. This doesn't seem to have that. Because ideally, I'd love to be able to like, oh, you're interested in this. We'll go into the next step. If you're interested in this, you might be interested in this team, or come and speak to probably me. And but there's nothing like that.
Right.
And there's nothing like that. It is a linear system, and I'm kind of thinking we also need to build a better summary of what everyone's doing, because it's like we've got a rough idea, but we need to actually like have a succinct. This is what they're working on. This is their this is what this team's goal is right now. This is what this team's goal is. This is what, like rather than the minutiae of where they're at, this is this is each plan. And like, this is our big plan. And these are the small plans involved, because then people are more likely to direct themselves. Because
it's like a banana republic of sorts, people are doing too many things. You just have no clue what's happening. And then,
it's chaotic. It's wonderfully chaotic. It's great in its own way, but it is chaos. I mean, you've got to get used to that. It's just if you can't handle chaos, you probably don't want to be around us. But I mean, because the difference is like no one's a manager, no one's a boss, no one's, and everyone's just turning up, and we all just appreciate each other, and we pat each other on the back, going, "You're amazing, keep being amazing," and that's something that so few people get in their careers. And also, we're trying to do something value-based, something big. Something like big mission led, like turning up to like, you can contribute to this big idea, and we'll love you every minute of your contribution. big or small, even if it's just a conversation, just joining in with it, even if it's just giving someone else feedback, it's all welcome. It's all appreciated.
I mean,
so that's kind of...
Sorry, you were saying, sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. You go.
All right. No, so that's all right. I heard CoronaWhy through a friend. She's been working with the machine. I want to say the machine learning piece of it. So she was telling me, this is a wonderful group. They're building this.
Who's this?
Have you heard about Kriti Mahajan?
Yeah, Kriti, yeah.
Yeah. So she was telling me about.
She's in VT, I think.
Yes. So so I've been so technically, so she's my girlfriend. Like we've been dating for like 4 or 5 years right now. So she was telling me, it's so super amazing. So we've been doing this, doing that, and and she was pretty. I think she's been part of CoronaWhy for quite a bit of time right now. Right?
Yeah, but a good nearly 3 months. She was fairly early on, if I remember.
Early on, right? Yeah. So she was telling me about this, and I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. I mean, that sounds amazing. So I was really super psyched to hear about the radical transparency piece you guys got going and everything. So I was like, wow. So how are they kind of pulling it off? Because if so many people are doing so many things, and all of you are in coming in together on goodwill and all of that sorts, and accountability is something which is very hard to enforce on, right? All of that.
Absolutely.
So how does it all work? She's like, oh, that's the other part of it. No one's accountable for anything. Like you can do it, go do it. If you can't do it, well, there'll be somebody else tomorrow who will come and do it for us. Or we just figure out something there. I was like, okay, interesting. That sounds it's like a double-edged sword kind of situation, right? I was like, you know what? All right.
It's one of them things. We've kind of got this agreement. I mean, it's one of the reasons why someone like me or Anton sometimes tries to get an idea of someone's technical or knowledge base. I am never going to turn down someone who wants to turn up and help, but I am I'm not gonna give a really sharp sword to someone who's never learned how to swing one if they're going to cut through everybody else's work.
Exactly.
And perfectly. My understanding is like, oh, you're a junior, or because we literally have high school students. Some amazing, exceptionally intelligent high school students. Yeah. So these people are turning up, and we've got everything from high school students to professors. Like the whole gamut lives in our space. We've got PhD people, and we've got people like me with no degree, but just a lot of gumption and a lot of willingness just to get on with it. But it's trying to make all these different levels of people talk to each other, and also, like you said, accountability. That is a really difficult thing, but it's not accountability. But it's not accountability in like oh, don't do anything wrong. It's like we want to know what you're doing because we can celebrate you. Then we can go doing amazing things. Like that's really cool. We don't care if you turn up with a qualification. We don't turn up if you've done a Coursera course and you've kind of got a bit of experience around it, and you want to. And if you turn up and you help and you contribute and you don't obviously make a mess,
that's amazing.
We don't mind. We don't mind what you bring, as long as you're bringing something to the table and you want to. Honestly, there's VJ. He's like 16. He's like 16, and he's involved in 2 teams. He's been a part of research. He's been joining hackathons in our name and interested in like this hardware project to do with mobile phones and this hardware project to do with like testing methods and that. I'm like, when did 16-year-olds become so bloody amazing?
Like these Gen Zs are next level.
But there's, obviously they're just one of them. It's a rare example of an awesome human being, and we want to celebrate that. But
precisely.
I mean, everyone kind of has this a little bit, because there are so many very capable people, there is a bit of imposter syndrome, which stops, I think imposter syndrome is one of the things that stops people just like running around like a ball breaking everything, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll have a go a little bit, but I don't want to break it because someone else is probably much smarter than me. That's true. Someone probably is smarter than you or more experienced in one way or another, but you turned up, and that's actually really valuable, because turning up and doing it is better than all the knowledge in the world and not turning up. That's not of any use to us. If that knowledge is over there and not doing anything, it's not any use to us.
Just lying there in the corner.
What's it going to do? So you turning up is something we really appreciate, but it is a balancing act to try and utilize people's, not only the skills and understanding their skill level, but also support, in the sense that if you are a little experienced, these people have got more experience. Learn from them, take part, ask questions, learn from them, be around in that environment, take part in the team, contribute where you can, and then as you're gaining confidence, you're going to get more effective. It's just how anything is. So, but making it, accountability of like what people have done is a bit of a difficult thing. We've described it as knowledge management in the sense that we need to understand what's been made, or not necessarily who made it. Yes, who made it, it'd be nice. But, what's made, how it works, this sort of, it's a constant battle to try and work out what everyone's done. And we've got like a daily report now where people can put what they're working on, what stages are at, what the blockers are. So we have got that system. We do need to work out, because obviously Slack is right now basically our brain. It's just got everything in there. And I can find most things because I can just search for it, but it's a really clunky way of digging up information.
But, kind of true. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? Sometimes.
So like knowledge management is a problem we have, and we're aware of it. I mean, we're researching different technologies for that. When I say we, there's like a few of us. We're talking about maybe some sort of wiki-esque open source system. So, but the problem is we want it to be integrated as well with Slack or something similar. We are also mooting the idea of moving off of Slack into an open source equivalent called a Matrix. Because Slack's amazing. It is. It's doing its job really well. But it costs
so much.
Well, it costs us nothing right now. It don't cost us anything.
I heard you guys got it free till September or something, right?
We've got a free plan, but right now, if we got charged this month, it'd be $1,500. And you know what we don't have? $1,500 to pay for chat. No one getting paid, so we definitely don't have a spare $1,500 sat around. So like long-term sustainability is really something we're interested in. Developing the website itself, we've got we've got a developer, but he's obviously limited like anyone is, and he's got his own specialisms, and we need to sort of broaden that out and widen the palette, plus take the burden, because the last thing we want to do is one person having to be the only person who does the website, because it kind of defeats how we work as a collective, because we work by everyone holding each other up, and no one's completely relied on for anything, because then it's just safer and more stable. Decentralization is powerful in its own way. So I'm very much interested in what you think of onboarding and how we could improve that.
So before I get into how I'm thinking about it, like I have a rough idea in my head, obviously not something which I've sketched out completely, which I would get to, but
rough
rough
ideas is fine. I mean, I've just had somebody's just somebody's just sent me earlier on the brand guidelines that she's come up with. We've already had some previously, but she's actually come up with a full brand guidelines. She does it for a job. I haven't had a really good look at that yet, but Meredith came back with that a few hours ago, and I'm like, I'll get around to that after this call.
That's
the same
amazing.
sort of thing. So once we've got like a brand, we're starting to get a bit of a concise mission statement. We're starting to lean towards we're leaning towards open source, open science, accountable, that sort of phrasing. I think we've moved around a few different things, but again, it leans towards transparency, inclusion, openness. It's about making it and and reusable, in the sense that there's no point us making one thing that no one else can work out how to use.
Precisely. I mean, that sounds pretty much what I wanted to hear, right? I'm pretty interested to know about that brand guideline. Whenever you're done with it, let me know if Meredith can share it to me or something, so that I get a sense of it or hang of it before I go on to planning out things in detail, right? So my rough idea was like, so we have multiple teams, right? So how many teams are we looking at? Like, if you have to bucket them?
We've got Team VT, Team Risk, Team Ties, Team Time Series, Team Social Analysis.
All right.
Team, and then there's they're like what we call vertical teams. Vertical teams are working on specific problems sections, and then we have horizontal teams, which are like support systems that cross the vertical teams.
The entire, all right.
So we've got like data visualization. They work with everyone. There's only a few people in that.
Obviously.
And then there's obviously communications.
And
that
overlaps with marketing, the marketing.
Yeah, communications is like the whole of the big label
it's like
for.
Got it.
It's the communications is everything that is communications. We have internal communications, which is HR, community engagement, that kind of thing, and then we have external communications, which is like partnerships and sponsorships, partnerships, and reaching out to external agencies and organizations. So it's all under, we call it all communications, and it is all, and communications obviously kind of covers the graphics, the design, the website, the podcast, everything that is some form of communicating the message, be it internally or externally. We call it all communications because we're simple creatures.
All right, no worries. All right.
And then I lead community engagement, which is kind of weird. We called it human resources, but human resources still feels weird. I feel like community engagement is much more of a description of what we're actually doing.
Okay.
So I lead community engagement, which is internal communications, onboarding, and that sort of stuff. And then we've got org team, the organizational team, which is kind of Arta, Daniel, me, Max. There's probably about 10 sort of people. The core. It's not like
the core team.
But we're not, obviously, it's not like a management or anything like that. We're just the people who think about how we are as an organization. We think about, build what we're going to, what steps we need to do to build into being a non-profit and all them really minutiae strategy stuff that not everyone wants to get into. So that's that's the organization team. And then we have data and data sets. They're kind of the same thing. Data sets is Slava's team. He runs that. And it's the dataverse and the infrastructure that all the other teams rely on. So they bring the hardware and they make the system work. And all of that. The warehousing, the storage of data, the access of data, the implementation of technologies or libraries, coding languages, whatever the teams are requiring, and they're the ones that try and bring the different technologies together, the different teams, the different implementations. I mean, they're the ones that put our CRM on the servers and they're the ones that are kind of making all the infrastructure work because data sets. And then we've technically got infrastructure, which is kind of connected to data. Sometimes we've got like multiple words and they like some of the
all this kind of overlap.
They're all overlap and no one's. So Slava's very involved in infrastructure. So's Anton P. And then, after that, we've got DevOps, which is a subsection of the infrastructure. So they're dealing with more like scalable infrastructure changes, security, infrastructure security, that sort of stuff. And then last but not least, we've got the engine team, which is our like the big plan.
The brain,
The big, our engine team are broken into search engine, which is the search engine team are run by Lucas, and they're building the machine learning systems and the NLP systems that are, again, Risk team, Ty's team, and VT team are kind of starting to coalesce around this search engine team. And the search engine is then leading into the literature review tool, which is kind of its own team. We've decided to start labeling it as own team, but it is still part of the engine. So it's an engine sub team. And then literature review tool is leaning towards a discovery engine, which is the big picture. It's it's the idea of a knowledge engine full of knowledge graphs that are interlinked and show you how different groups of knowledge are connected to other groups of knowledge. So so it's the idea of not just a search engine, it's a discovery engine. It's the sense that you can find things that even you didn't know you could find, or finding information, finding systems, or finding questions you never knew how to ask. Or like you can look at one thing and then actually from that you'll see that it's connected to, like, it's where like you could look at something to do with biochemistry and it might connect to, it'd connect up to virology, but also might be connect up to bioinformatics, and it'd show you how all these different
things make the connection.
How these clever specialists It's trying to de-silofy specialist information and make them understand each other and connect to each other, which is an exceptionally complicated task, which is kind of the big goal. It's the big goal. That's kind of the big mission, but we're working towards our main focus right now is the literature review tool, which is the idea behind that is to make automated or semi-automated human curated literature reviews for medical researchers on the CORD-19 data set. But even then, we're still looking at the CORD-19 data set as a tool set to teach us how to build them literature review tools. Then the literature review tool system could be added to a different data set, and we get you could just throw all the psychology information at it, and it would tag and data and frame and vectorize and make them all, it'll connect everything up together and then turn them into tables. And the idea is to have visualization tables to be able to help researchers summarize information so they can
pick the signals and stuff like
they can do the significant digging around and understanding it, and the algorithm can do the extracting all the things that they're going to look for anyway, the sample sizes and what type of what type of study it is, what sample size it was, where the population is, what kind of population is, what were the confounding factors, all of these things that every research is going to look at when they're looking at a piece of, we want to be able to just extract that out, give them a table, and they can go, okay, I'm looking for anything connected to heart disease and diabetes. And they'll just go, bang, here's everything heart disease and diabetes. Here are 50 seem like the most relevant ones for you. And here's the most relevant information from them. So then that person can scan through them and go, oh, that's no use for me because I'm actually looking for a geriatrics, or I'm looking for pediatrics and they're adults. So I'm not looking for that. Okay. And you can filter it down, and they can basically do a literature review in a much more speedy up. Like, we've had researchers say that this would save hundreds of hours a year. Which is what we want, because we want hundreds of hours a year for every researcher, because then they can get on with doing the hard science rather than sitting reading papers and writing numbers, which computers can do that really well when we teach someone how to do it. Actually.
So I understand the big vision for this, with the tool precisely. I like how you guys are taking it, taking it by one data set at a time. Which kind of makes sense, right? If it works with one data set, then it should. And then your engine team could, possibly figure out those connections
that's what it's all about, reusability. It's like the idea is we build tools that are reusable in the sense that we could reorientate one tool into another knowledge system, and it'll go in there, and we've got a Docano which annotates data, and we've got Infra which works out inference, and it interprets inference from words, which is a linguistically complicated thing, as my understanding of. I mean, I'm not a machine learning or NLP expert.
Neither am I.
Better idea.
So you guys have natural language processing algos to figure that for you. Is that correct? Is that understanding correct?
Well, yeah. We're building natural language processes, or we're using ontologies, or we're using something that exists and adapting it. I mean, It's not like we're building anything completely unique, in the sense that a lot of the things, the tools we exist in are, you exist in Python libraries or existing, but it's about assembling that library with this problem, with this tool, with this data, and the smarts to understand how to make that data visual and understandable. That's nothing. My understanding so far is nothing we're playing with is completely unique. In the sense that it's never been invented, but it's just an open, understandable, accessible version of it is the plan.
Which makes it even more, which makes it even more easier for somebody else to use it, right? Because you don't want something that's super complicated where they need to train to figure it out, right?
I mean, the idea. Some of the things we've discussed before is the idea. The last thing we want to do is create something that's amazing and truly globally effectively amazing, but then gets siloed in just Cambridge or MIT, and no one else ever sees it. Like we want yeah, we want Karachi to have it, and we want the capital, you know, every university in Africa to have it, and every university in Indonesia to have it. And we don't want all of them have to build their own. We want to go, here you go. Now go use the tool to go solve the actual science. We don't care. We want to build you a tool, or we want to be part of building a tool that then everyone can use, and we all save time, and we can all solve real problems, rather than, you know, the problem of data or the problem of interpreting information out of it. We don't want that. No, that's a waste of time. When we can speed it up, it's a waste of time.
I mean, yeah, that's one of the key, I would say, key strengths, or, you know, something like, you know, something which is, key strengths of, you know, democratizing data, right? Like giving it access to everybody in the universe, right? Like that means, you know, you have not just one exclusive set of, you know, researchers looking at it. You know, you open that up and you get more perspectives, different more, you know, ways of following it.
More ways of interpreting it, more ways of using it, more people taking the idea and running with it in a way that none of us ever thought, because we are very much, the knowledge of the crowd is always better than the knowledge of the individual. And it just fundamentally is. Like, society didn't move forward with like 10 smart people. It moved forward with hundreds of thousands of millions of making incremental improvements or adaptations or changes or reusing one thing in another place, or remixing an idea in a place that no one expected but somehow actually solved a new problem. It's like the knowledge of the crowd always wins eventually, and we want to speed up that knowledge propagation with data management systems that can help knowledge propagation. And I'm very passionate about it. I'm in education. I work with special needs kids, and I work with a very poor population demographics. And I see there's brightness in everyone if you give them the opportunity and you give them the tools. And I just want to see more of that everywhere. And like I say, I'm in Britain. I'm in a privileged place. Like, you know, there's Cambridge and Oxford and all London's, you know, these massive universities with these big research budgets and these big departments, and they shouldn't, I mean, not saying they're doing it on purpose, but they shouldn't silo information. They shouldn't hide it. They shouldn't limit it. I'm very much pro open science, pro open data. Obviously open data in a managed sense, not just like, here's when I've had this illness, you know, that's personal private data. But at the same time, we are really interested in the idea of open data. It has been discussed. We've got someone in our community who's actively pushing for open data systems, in the sense that you would own your own data and you could choose to contribute your data to science. It wouldn't be a case of like, well, currently our data system as we have it, the data is owned by the person who harvests it, not the person who the data is about. Like, all the advertising data in the world is owned by the person who harvests the data. It isn't owned by the person who the advertising is targeted at. And that seems like a absolutely backwards way of doing it, because and that is a really tough problem that we're going to have to solve as a planet, because if we don't, it feeds into loads of dark pans. It feeds into this abuse of attention, because they want more eyeballs because they can earn more money off of it, rather than it serving the people who they're getting the information from. It's serving their own interest, and it makes a bad pattern. So we're just trying to fix the world and all of it in one go, you know, just small things.
I mean, you start small, obviously, but great, Mr. I think, I'm actually super psyched to be hearing this, and it's nice to hear it from, you know, someone who's been passionate about it and deeply working with that. So that just, you know, reassures so many questions I had in my mind. Okay, I mean, how are we looking at it? What is the big picture? So because I had questions like, okay, so if they're building something for this use case, why not scale it for other use cases? Like, it's just not Corona, right? It could go out just from COVID.
Exactly. The big idea, the idea when we started talking about it, because this is a concept that bounces around, and like Arta takes it and goes and makes a diagram of it and plays around with it a little bit, and then brings it back, and we start editing again, and we iterate thoughts and we improve on it. And every time I explain it to someone, it's slightly different, and it's a different version of my interpretation based on the 5 new pieces of bits of discussion I've seen. But yeah, originally we were like, we need to make researchers' job as easy as possible now, so they get answers quickly, so we save lives. Because right now we're in a panic. like anyone who pretends otherwise just is blissfully ignorant. And I wish I was blissfully ignorant, but I can't be. Like the whole world's on fire. It's all on fire, and we need to help as much as we can. And and there's no one who's safe. So we can't pretend like it's not one of them things that like the problem. It's the first time in our lifetimes. I mean, apart from like, it's the first time in our lifetimes that not only a global problem is here, but a global problem is here.
Yeah, like it's in our houses.
It's absolutely in your face. You can't pretend like it's like climate change is like, oh, that's like 40 years away. It's like,
we got time for that.
I can't think 4 years ahead of me. It's like, oh, we'll just deal with that next whenever. It's like, if you it's like, when you compare that to a virus, it's like ignore it for a week and it doubles, and you're like, oh,
okay, oh,
that's
that didn't work.
Don't ignore it for a week is the only answer to that. Yeah, but and it's and there is loads of problems with that. Systemic thinking is not natural. I'm very much a system thinker, and I have been for a long time. But it makes you a weird person when, I was in the middle of February. I was not very well in the middle of February. In the beginning of February, I'm like, I'm working in the school. I'm like, we are shutting down soon. Even to the head teacher, I'm like, you might not realize it yet, but I guarantee you it'll happen soon. We will need to shut down. You need to start thinking about it now. Thankfully, a very empathic, caring head teacher who she shut down like 10 days before the government mandated. Before government mandate, she was just like, nah, I'm not having kids, all my staff in harm's way, and I'm going to shut the school because she could. And that's a really awesome human being, but she might have potentially saved, school's got 750 people. Imagine everyone's got 3 people in the family. Times that, you're talking 2,000
You're talking about 2,100 people, yeah.
You're talking 2,000-ish people, and if 2,000 people, if 20% get it and 10% of them die, that's saving 10 lives. I'm like, that's it. Yeah. That's it.
Let's save them.
And that's let's save the lives. Yeah, let's save their lives. And it's like some people will be like, oh well, it's just poor immigrants. And it's like, no, they're humans. It's like, exactly. Humans. Let's just human beings with grandmas who might die or granddads who might die. It's like the kids might be fine. But grandma and granddad in these communities where lots of Asian communities live, especially in Britain, like grandma and granddad might live next door, might live in the same house sometimes.
Yeah, precisely.
You've got a 5-year-old coming to school and 75-year-old grandma at home. It's like they're gonna die.
They're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
And I can't imagine anyone who's callous enough to just not care about that. Like to be like, well, I'll probably be fine. I'm like, I'm in my 30s. I'll probably be fine. Fact of it is, I don't want to fucking get it, and I don't want to give it to someone else.
Somebody else. Exactly. I think that's
I do not want someone else to get ill because of I've just been
I've been careless about it. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean,
COVID was as our initial thought, but then we were like, not just this pandemic. We want to build tools that can manage the next pandemic because it'll happen. It might be 20 years away. It might be 50 years away. Not be funny, but the human race has been fighting disease for as long as it's been around. We will happen again, and the world is more connected, more interconnected, more as we found out. Like the Black Plague took 10 years to get to Europe.
COVID took what?
The Black Plague took 10 years to get. No, the Black Plague took 10 years to get to Europe. Yeah. The Spanish flu took about 6 months to go around the world. And it started in, I think it started in America, but they don't admit it. It was like, it was like, and then like swine flu happened in America. It took like 5 months to get. Took like 4 or 5 months to get around the world, and like SARS took like 4 months, 3 months, and then MERS took like a month, and then like COVID took like 4 weeks.
It just came in weeks. I mean, it just begs the question, like
it's like it might not have started killing people properly because exponential growth is really messy, and people don't think exponentially. It's like, and in fact, I've got clients who are autistic, and one of them's been in touch a few times because his parents are both not well, and we've discussed it, and he's like, and I said, well, think about it this way: how many people do you interact with on, and walked him through it. It's like, how many people do you interact with at work? It's like, oh, there's 40 people in building. I said, okay, imagine 40 people, and then imagine how many of them people bump into people on buses. Okay, now add everybody they interact with on a bus. Now add all of their family, and then add a week, and imagine any one of them people connects to any one of them people, and then the multiplying effect of like you bumping into like 40 people a week. Yeah, you bump into 40 people a week, and even if you're only around 20 of them, if 10% of them get it, that's 2. 2 is 4, 4 is 8, 8 is 16, 16 is 32, 32 is 64. And that's only with 2. I said, do it with 3. Work happens even faster. Happy with 4. And I took him through it and said, and then I actually I built a little spreadsheet for him with exponential number growth. And I sent it to him and I went, this is the difference between you bumping into 10 people and you bumping into 20. And I said, within 6 weeks, it's 3 times bigger. And it goes from like 750 to 6,000, and you're like,
what just happened? Yeah.
My God. And then when you talk like that, people don't realize that compounding is compound interest. It's compound exponential growth. Yeah, 4, it sounds like nothing first. If it just doubles, it's like, oh, well, 1 is 2, 2 is 4, 4 is 8. It's fine. Do it 40 times. Do it 40 times and find out where you're at, because you're in thousands. And do it 50 times, you're in millions. Do it 60 times, you're in billions. It's like, it happens really fast. And it's so many people. I've been talking about this since January, and I've just been like, no one's thinking about this in the way it needs to be thought about. Apart from New Zealand, when we've got 4 cases, lock the country down. People we don't know who've got it. Let's just assume there's a lot more people we don't know who've got it. Lock it down. No one moves. Fixed it. I'm like, we didn't do that in Britain because we're ignorant and we think we're special. And capitalism's more important than human beings. Yeah, and I'm like, capitalism don't work if everyone's dead, you idiot.
So, I mean, it just begs me to ask this question, right? How does Prime Minister of your country not have the level of understanding your high school teacher had? Like, how? Like, your head teacher could shut down her facility 10 days in advance before the country can shut down. What? I mean, it's just baffling. I'm like,
it's baffling.
And you're the Prime Minister.
You are attached to all of these experts. Like, you are literally the epicenter of. You can just go. You could go to the college and just go, tell me the facts, and you know what they'll do? They'll go do a white paper as quick as possible, and they will give you the facts. You know why? Because you're the leader of the country, and they have to do that. But the difference is my government especially, and American government's a little bit bad, is they're full of selfish people who are not empathic. The leader
Same goes in India.
The head of a high school or a primary school who nurture people who think about their well-being all day long, exceptionally empathic people. And empathic people react to human problems, not money problems. First, humans first. Economics second. Humans matter. Let's worry, because money is to facilitate humans to live better.
Not the other way.
If we let all the people die, money is not really that important anymore. Yeah, you can't eat the money. It does not feed you. And it's the kind of, it's just the, what is going on? How can you be this stupid? How can you, I mean, like, me and my dad talk about this sort of stuff all the time, and he's the first person to go, I'm an idiot, and how I can tell this is a bad idea. He works in engineering. He is not an idiot. He calls himself an idiot, but he's not very obviously. But he's a system thinker. He can see the patterns before they are. He can see the patterns before they're there. He can see what this leads to that, leads to that, leads to that. That compounding feedback loop leads to a place that you did not plan for, but it will get you there anyway. And exactly the same sort of thing. So many people just don't have that systematic way of thinking of feedback loops and cycles that you need to be able to think in these days. It's the only way the system works. You have to think of the economics and the human and the environmental and the social structure of communities and the social structures of a city and how cities are going to interact and how to lead and communicate that. It's like so little of that ability in so many countries. it's just frustrating. And I'm not an expert. I'm literally not an expert in anything, but I can see these patterns and I'm going, like, surely there's a smart person around going, just fix this. Let me fix this, please.
Yeah.
Stop being an idiot.
Idiot.
I mean,
I think that's okay. We'll have.
I got a bit ranty there.
That's okay. That's all right. Fine. I think it's a good icebreaker of sorts. Yeah. So coming to the problem at hand, right? Like what we've discussed. So I've kind of got a good descriptive understanding of the teams and everything. So the way I see it, like I give you a small idea of how I want to approach this. So let's say we have skills, right? We have multiple key skills. The volunteers, kind of state when they fill that form, right? Based on that, we would see which team or which vertical team or horizontal team they fit in, and then kind of cater that information to that individual, right? Let's say tomorrow X comes in and she has, let's say, communication skills plus data skills, and and a little bit of systems, system search engine kind of thinking, and we just kind of understand, okay, where would this individual fit in? So ideally, we'll say, okay, if he or she fits in this team, so these are the information we need to give them to get started, so that they're caught up with everything, they know what's happening. Then they also have an idea where they can fit themselves in and help a bit with a specific problem. I think that's how I'm kind of seeing it. Obviously, I need a little more of research, number one, and two, understanding the kind of people we onboard to kind of hash that out. But that's how I want to approach it. So I do have something.
I mean, that's one half of the way we look at it. Yes, we would like to be able to go, yes, you have A skill plus B skill, but the problem is like A skill and B skill might be generalist, and that, or it might even be a specific thing. But the problem is there's very few specific places within CoronaWhy that are only looking for one skill. And not only that, not all teams need to grow all the time.
Precisely.
Because otherwise team leaders will be doing nothing but onboarding people and trying to work out what people can do. There is a finite limit of the size of a sensible size of a team before it becomes unwieldy to manage. So we're mixing between the idea of trying to understand what people are bringing to the table, but also the other half of it is we need to understand what they want to get out of it, because we need to understand their intrinsic motivation. It's like it's like for you, for example, you're into SEO and advertising and marketing and these sort of thinking, but you might be going, well, actually, I've been really getting more interested in data science and I want to do more data science work. I don't want to do marketing. I do that as my day job. And understanding that requires a conversation or requires a little bit more of a digging into it. So we've got a balance between, we need to try and work out what people's intrinsic motivations are to better utilize their drive, because we can't offer them money. All we can offer them is praise, support, networking opportunities. We can things like if there's nice things on LinkedIn, or recommendations on LinkedIn, these like social values,
social incentives,
social incentives, we can definitely bring them, and we're definitely trying to do more of that. But again, part of the problem is trying to understand what people are doing to give them social, to give them the real. Because the last thing we want to do is like, you've done a really good job. It's like,
thanks. Yeah.
It needs to be real, and it to be real, it needs to be around people who they're working with. So I can see little bits of what a lot of people are doing, but I still don't understand the details of what they're doing. Especially if
that would be exhausting.
Especially if I'm not a peer, in the sense that. If a data scientist makes an amazing model built that really does something really well, the people they want props from are the people they look up to, who are more experienced, and their peers, because they're the ones who really understand it. They're the ones who are going to be like, oh no, that's like, or even like if you're a designer, if you make a really good design and another designer goes, that's really good, that has more value. There's more value than somebody who doesn't really understand it, just
and give
really
you
well done.
Just props to it. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, props and like thank you for doing amazing work. Everyone feels good to say thanks, but there's more value in more specific thanks, in more like directed focus thank you.
General,
In general is not as effective. So we need to work out what people want to get out of it, how we can give them that while they contribute. and how much they can contribute, just understanding the level of contribution. I mean, we can always, we've always kind of assumed that people will ebb and flow. There'll be times when they'll get really dug into it, and then life will change and they won't have as much space for it. So they'll ebb and they'll flow back out of it. And we need to try and allow for that, because otherwise 150 people will burn out and then it'll stop.
Yeah. Then the last thing you want is someone pivotal or critical leaving, or not participating or contributing.
We have described as like dropping balls and picking them up, or passing the baton on. We need to work out how to get better at passing batons on, which again goes back to knowledge management. If we can get more and more people's knowledge to be explicit, to be written down, to be explained, to be detailed, which is time consuming in its own way. But if we can better understand how to document what people are doing and what they're contributing and how they've made an impact. When they stop, someone can walk up and read through their notes and have a conversation. And yes, obviously it might take a little time to acclimatize, but they can take over. Someone could completely take over a role.
Precisely.
And secondary, when we have that knowledge management system that works better, better understand what people are doing. And we can better say on LinkedIn going, Kriti has been really instrumental in Team VT's project making this tool, and it's been fantastic. And you can see that tool here if you're interested. Like that is much more valuable
to the individual
acclaim, in the sense that like this is individualized. This is like this person has contributed this in this way in an amazing project. Well done for them, and we appreciate having more of them.
Precisely. That's a very effective, that's a very effective way of, showing gratitude to these kind of, I don't know, I can't think of an easy way to put it. Like, some people just get into this project because they have a guilty conscience, right? It's like, hey, I'm privileged. I'm not in dire situations, but I want to help. By helping that I feel good.
Definitely,
So that target set, yes, that works perfectly fine. And there are other people like, I'm just here to do my own job. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can to give my contribution and then go back to my day job, come back when they need me. So there are like different segments of people. It's also hard to identify and segment them as well. But keeping a general, a process like that would just ramp up contributions from not just your active contributors, but also, encourage, your passive or your dormant guests, step up and, just come and deliver, come up to the pad and give it a swing. So
we do also want to have there's a sort of a third kind of person that we definitely want more of, and they when they turn up, you can tell who they are, because you're a prime example of it. I'm a prime example of it. The people I've described as witches, the people who just turn up and have no idea what is going on, but they walk in and just go like, right, what can I do? Oh, I can see a problem over there. I'm going to run at it and I'm going to just get on with it. And not everyone's got like the drive to just like get stuck in. Some people are like waiting for a permission. Some people are waiting for like, I don't know, maybe. And
they're going to get stuck.
And there are always going to be some people like that. And we want to make it as easy for them people to get involved where they can find it specifically. But we definitely want people to turn up to start stuff, because they're the people who build the starts of teams that people can join. They're the people who are like, I've got this crazy project idea and I'm just going to get on with it. And then
see where it goes.
Are interested. Yeah. People, and then, then they come to someone like me. I've got this idea. And I said, well, what have you got? And well, I've got this so much far and I've got this idea, but I need like more people. And I'm like, cool. Like I can find you more people. Exactly. Like, that sounds like a really interesting project you've got going on. Like, let's just find some more people to help you, because let's just summarize, again, what's your goal? What's your mission? What's this solve you're trying to make? What's this quantifiable difference you're going to make? And people love that, but you've got to have that sort of experimenter who's willing to walk into this mess and go, I can see a gap. Let's just fill it with.
Let's just cover it. Yeah. So, all right, cool. I mean, this was very insightful. Like, I was literally the person like, hey, what's happening? I'm not sure what's really happening. Okay, I have a basic idea of that.
I was like that for 8 days. I was like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know
what am I doing?
I'm reading this and I'm reading that. And then I joined up Slack and I was just like, that's me. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is what I can do. And then I just started reading, and then I just started like because I'd read so much because the projects, I were getting an idea of who were in what projects, and I were making, what silly things, like I didn't know who anyone was, so I was going into channels. Oh, that's a team leader. I'm making a note of that channel with that team lead, and I literally just had little threads. What I wrote for myself. I wrote them for myself, and then once I've written them all for myself, because I understood them, then when someone turned up and they were like, "Oh, I'm interested in this," and I was like, "Bung, here, this bit, you probably here's the lay of the land. I think you, because you're interested in this, but this team seems to be needing this. Go speak to X." And I just started doing that, and the more I started doing that, the more I realized that that was a perfectly good job for me to do, and I just kept doing it. And
I mean, to be honest, you have been right. Pointing me to Rohan was one of those things, right? So I see you as someone as a conduit of channeling people to the right team leads or teams or whatsoever. And I think that's where we need to start. I mean, that's what's needed, and you've been doing a phenomenal job on it. So I think we just have to instead of taking your bandwidth so much, sometimes it gets exhausting. I don't know if I'm generalizing here, but it could get exhausting.
I can be around all day long, and sometimes I'm just like,
not today.
But part of the problem is like my bandwidth gets taken up because more teams get made, so I have to understand more of what's going on, and I'm also taking on like organizational, trying to understand how to define the organization, because I'm interested in the communication, and I'm really interested in like the user experience and trying to make it as easy as possible for for researchers, because there's no point making a tool that's no one wants to use because it's atrocious.
Yeah,
because again, I'm interested in like designing a tool that's useful, and then I'm interested in open science and making open science communication systems better. And we've got an open science TV team, and we've got some journal thing that we're starting, and we've got a smart cities side project, and we've got a discussions on politics and current events, and we've got this. Honestly, I've given you. In fact, let me just give you a quick review of my channels, and that will give you an idea of.
Sure.
Give you an idea of what the hell my
I think your audio just cut off. I can't hear you.
I'm just talking to myself. I'm mumbling.
Okay. All right. No worries.
What can you see right now? Am I sharing anything at all?
I can't. No, I don't think I'm seeing anything.
Am I on the right account? I don't know. Because I'm clicked on share, and it's just got 1 and 2, but nothing's doing anything.
Okay. I don't think I see that additional screen of sorts. Yeah.
Right, there we go. Eventually the pop-up popped up.
Oh, okay.
Where's the pop-up? Why is it not working? Right.
There you go.
Right, that's my Slack.
All right.
Ready for the tour of Slack that I do quite regularly now.
That's okay.
Just because fast. I mean, it's all about transparency. I don't care. I'll add you to any channels you're interested in, just about. So we've got introductions, communications, help needed, which is our job board, motivation and purpose, intrinsic motivations, why people turn up, jobs and careers, the space where we want to talk about I'm looking for work, or recommendations, talking about LinkedIn profiles, all of this kind of job stuff. Because we've got people who've, there's obviously some people are going to lose jobs. I'm looking for a job because I work in schools, but I'm about to move to the Midlands, and I'm looking to move careers anyway.
Okay.
Slack requests is just a Slack check system. Incoming communications is messages that you get in when they come in. Needs request coordination is an old channel. It was originally the one where team leads requested, I need more developers.
So and so, this,
yeah, and we don't really use that one much anymore. We've got this help needed channel for that.
Help needed, okay, makes sense.
Public relations is kind of a discussion around again messaging, especially news related messaging. because we've had occasion we've been on news channels and stuff, and we're trying to make sure that's managed as well. As we've got a PR team, so
awesome.
Got a PR firm on board.
Wow.
Partnerships is external. Yeah, this is just my groups. Partnerships is external communications. Team podcast, which I'm part of because I'm doing audio. So the podcast development, hackathons and conferences, when people talk about being at hackathons or that sort of stuff. Explainable AI, literally all of it's in Russian. I have not a clue. It's about making AI explainable to people, but I have not a clue because it's not in English.
It is. Tell me about it.
Website related, as it sounds, where we discuss website related things. Content is communication content. So again, it's kind of a subsection of like, we're not using it very much, but like when we start writing blogs or that sort of stuff, that's where we discuss that sort of discussion. Domain exports don't get really used anymore. Research is literally a space for talking about writing a research paper about CoronaWhy because someone is doing that. Marketing.
Awesome.
Marketing. Again, not much discussion in there, but sponsorships is discussing potential sponsors or making sure sponsors get visibility on the website or this sort of stuff. Teams page is website related, just to discuss what teams, what the teams are doing, who's part of them, who wants to be on the website, that sort of stuff.
Got it.
Archive podcast is private one. New-term animations is nothing really interesting there. Coordination, super quiet section that we don't really call it anything anymore because nobody does anything in there. Everyone's kind of a coordinator, but we talk elsewhere. Coordination team, org team. This is just like, these are my little, these are people rather than channels.
Right.
Emergent systems is where we discuss the emergent organization that is CoronaWhy and similar organizational systems like Valve or Semco and like management systems. Gameful design, talking about exactly that. How can we make gameful design decisions to make users more inclined to join in, or how can we build that sort of healthy gameful design to make it a little bit fun or feel like you're making an achievement or you're making progress. We haven't really decided how that's going to be. New structure was literally this channel made to decide what to call emergencies. It's sometimes weird. Policy is literally discussion space for CoronaWhy policy. We need to discuss like data protection policy or just boring policy argument stuff. Technology issues is literally a space for talking about technology issues or technology changes, or if we're going to try out a different platform or a different system. Operations is operations. It's like about 17 of us. It was a really early channel. So it's like, again, the core people who do like the daily calls and that sort of stuff is a quiet channel. Team org is now kind of taken over what operations is. Non-profit entity where we discuss the processes, because we've had video calls about non-profits. Valve, again, organizational system discussion. Vision Archive, an old closed one that now we've turned into the open one. Database, data hub. This is all data discussions. Engine is literature review interface.
The one you were talking about. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the search engine team.
I'm kind of making connections. I'm just kind of making connections to all the teams you just called out. Okay, now it's all coming together. All right.
Yeah, I name them like this because
easier for you to
manage. So discovery engine is kind of quiet because it's built on search engine and then literature review, and then once we've got it's like a 3-tier thing. Once we've got a search engine system that can search the data sets, and then the different teams can use that to build models on top of it, and then the literature review tool will be the interface to help with the data side of it, and then the discovery engine will be the literature review tool multiplied many-fold over with many different ontology systems. So that's kind of
got it.
Team ties is Team ties submission pan channel, just as is that. Team risk, and that's like Maya's the team lead of team risk. Christine was the
team vertical team you're talking about. Yeah, got it.
So team ties, Christine leads that. Dimitro is one of the organizers. Christine sort of stepped down now, so I should add someone, Alex, into there now. Team VT, Dan leads that. Malavika's very big in that channel as well. Treatments was an old channel. Andrea Kopp was doing it. It was an old medical experts doing.
Okay, got it.
Literally looking at medical treatments and doing that sort of annotation work. Medical coordinators is a quiet channel, but previously I tried to work out how to coordinate medical professionals, and it's a can of worms to try and work out, because obviously medical experts are busy, and simultaneously not all of them are tech savvy enough to be on Slack, so we were trying to work out how to get them involved and how to best utilize their expertise with their time frame. So time series is a new one built on, so it's a new vertical
team
house, but this is not Kaggle related. We originally started with Kaggle competitions, which is the ties, risk, VT, and then geo was like a geospatial data. So it's kind of geo's been absorbed into data now, basically. So time series is looking at time, so data models with time into it. So how is the infection changing over time in this area? How is something happening over a period of time rather than just so it's the idea is they're going to be trying to help build open source models. So rather than just like, University College London building a model that nobody knows how it's done or any of the answers or
how it works.
We're trying to build one that anyone can come along and see the understanding, and it's hopefully going to be well explained and well summarized, and also explain where the open data they're pulling from and why they're using it. Again, transparent understanding is more important.
Yeah. Got it.
That's run by Isaac in there.
David?
No, Isaac runs it. David's one that help coordinates it.
Okay.
Medical. These are literally my channel of doctors.
Oh, okay.
It's a channel of medical doctors.
Nice.
And curation and the ontology types. So this is one of the teams that tried to work out what types of research papers exist. The different types of research that exist and how you can define them, because then how do you work out what defines that type of paper from the information, and then how can we interpret that to sort of how can we group papers, basically.
Got it.
Side projects. So team social analysis is a new one. Social analysis is historical data, so looking at things like the 1918 pandemic and the historical data, and it's only new, but we're gonna analyze historical data like that, like previous pandemics and previous major illness outbreaks, international ones and local ones. And the idea is we're trying to understand how people are talking about it, how how it was talked about at the time, and can we learn things from them previous things to inform us now to do a better job, rather than just guess and make the same mistakes.
State hypothesis.
Let's learn from history. This is not the first time. Let's work out what we did last time, what worked, what didn't work, what lessons can we learn from it. So we're trying to look at that historical data. We've been pulling, like Slava's pulled in. Well, strange enough, Slava's got loads of Dutch information. It's because he works in the Netherlands. But he's Ukrainian originally, and he works for like a data archive system for the actual government of Netherlands and the EU.
Wow.
He works on really big data projects. He's a super informed guy. So he's brought in like this data from the 1918 flu, all the Dutch data, like loads and loads and loads of data into it, and then he was starting to run algorithms to read things, to interpret things, to see where patterns exist. That's kind of where we're at. But there's obviously history is a big complicated thing, and we've also invited some British researchers that I've watched to do a couple of talks. Dr. Mia Ridge, who's a doctor at the the British Archive, and she does social analysis through history from like the mid 1800s to the early 1900s. So she's talking about how technology changed things, but again, it's the same kind of research. And Indra is a team for the developers of Indra. We've got the Harvard developers of Indra, which is I think it's a framework for interpreting inference from written from NLP. But literally the Harvard developers joined our Slack because we were talking to them enough and someone's been involved with them. So we've got like, the two main developers are now hanging out in our Slack to try and inform to make their development better for their project, because we're using it and they want to see us succeed using their tool. So
that's
economics
great.
is literally economics is discussion on economic impacts. And municipal impact is how cities are affected. Open space is the idea for open forums, discussion points, that sort of discussion. It's an old channel. It very rarely gets used.
Okay.
What else have we got? Bridges are crossover channels. So Healthlands is like an external team that's connected to us. Allen Institute is where we get the COVID-19 data set from.
Awesome. Okay.
COVID-19 is a hackathon in Canada that Daniel was involved with. Claire is the European AI Institute conglomerate.
Okay.
CoViewed is the team involved with building a tool for reading to work out fake news related to COVID and trying to offset that. Data Owner Project.
That's interesting.
Data Owner Project was the one I mentioned earlier about a framework for people to privately own data about themselves, and then they can choose how it gets used and where it gets used. NGO is now like an old team that's sleeping. Social is just our little chat space, and Team Open Science is literally Open Science is a brand new project, like the idea behind the media and promoting it. And I don't even know what Golden Journal is, but I got added into another channel again because it happens a lot.
All right. Okay.
That's the full tour of Slack.
Perfect. I mean, this is damn helpful. I think it just helped me connect all the dots, all the notes I've been taking. So that's pretty much all right. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
I mean, this is one of the things that I mean, this is a longer one than normal, but I normally have like an introduction call that takes 25 minutes. And that's like 10 minutes of it is me just going, these are all the channels I'm in. These are what these channels are used for. Go join them what you want, or ask me and I'll add you to them. It's like, again, it goes back to that transparency idea. It's like, if you want to join a channel, by all means, if it's a channel that's a private channel, ask. More than likely you'll be added into it, unless there's a reason why, some channels have got obviously data. Some channels have got like data in them, or channels with like that link to spreadsheets that are full of everyone's data. And we try and limit that to like the tiniest amount of people, obviously, because the last thing we want is, hundreds, thousands of people, thousands of people's emails just accidentally leaking. That's not what we want. So we're very, very limited on who gets access to things like that. But other than that, if you want to have a conversation, you want to join in with a chat, you can pretty much go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of saw the channels I could join. Like, there's so many channels to browse over. I kind of got added. I got myself added to the marketing channel and all of that stuff. That's great. Okay, so I think I've got quite a lot of information to work through. Thank you so much for taking the time out and helping me with this.
This is going to be recorded. I'll stick it on the YouTube channel if you need to go back to it to refer from.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I will. I think I have a fair idea of what I need to do. So let me work out a plan. So something like basic.
Percolate on an idea and then bring it back to us, and then we'll do what everyone does. It's like we'll crowdsource the knowledge and see if anyone can come up with a oh, that's a really good idea, or I didn't think of that, or actually, have you thought of it this way? That's kind of what we do.
Exactly. I think that's a healthy way of taking it forward. So okay. So I kind of see what I can do. Let me work it out. Let me build a small workflow of things and how we can. I
mean, if you would like, we've got a Miro board. Do you use Miro?
Okay. Not precisely. You can just share it with me. I'll quickly learn.
Yeah, I can send you to it's literally just a whiteboard. And rather than you building your own thing in your own space, you can just take a corner and go, this is my thoughts, just put your name on it. And then it gives the people who are thinking about these projects and these problems of onboarding problems and communication problems. And you'll see kind of the communication grid of how people get in and out right now.
Perfect.
And then you can then at least go, well, you can even copy it and make a new copy and go, these are the ways I think we could improve this section. That way you don't have to, again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can do it together.
Transfer, learn, and leverage. Yeah, precisely. I think I've used Miro. It's one of those vision boards of sorts, right?
It's a
it's like
vision board,
one of
whiteboard.
the
It can
vision
be.
board. Yeah.
I've just stole some templates and thrown them on, and I've been
Perfect.
adding on it, and we've made it. We've been cannibalizing it, and then words. Come on, Tyler, words. Shirley, who is awesome, and Bianca, who is also awesome, have been working on. Bianca's the one who's doing our CRM, building our CRM system, and trying to wrangle it into work for us. And Shirley's one of the people who's like really interested in this onboarding problem and the way to get the communication and the people side of it right. Them two have been amazing. They're really active contributors on the Miro board, so that's kind of who you'll see interacting on there. I'll dig up the link and I'll send it across to you. And then that way, if nothing else, you can plan out in a corner. Don't worry about anyone judging you. Just even if you're just spitballing, if you're just spitballing your ideas or trying to throw it around, or even if it's a case of like, this is what I think, you know, I see when updates happen, or you can make notes, there's comments, you can see the conversation that's happened as well. So it might.
Yeah, it may be easy to, yeah. Got it.
I'll do that because we've decided, somebody suggested Miro, so we just went, fuck it, we'll just use Miro. And then you can add like 10 people for free on there or something, and we can all just work on that.
Perfect. That's amazing. I think I'll kind of work on that. That seems fair. Great. Cool. So I think I have, this is one side project which I'll work on, and also the other plan on the SEO piece. I think I'll get in. I'm just waiting to hear from Rohan to see where he's at and what he's doing and what he needs to help with. Because I just don't want to come, hey, I have a plan, let's do this. I don't want to take over, hijack stuff. I just want to understand.
It is a balancing act. Yeah, again, it goes back to that. People don't want to upset other people, but also some people get busy. And it's like Rohan's busy and he's been looking for work and now he's got some work, and we're not going to tell him to not be busy working, earning money to do free stuff. It's like, that's not how we work. We're interested in moving the website into Jamstack. Potential because of the who is it? Discussed it a little bit, and a few of the Anton and I have discussed it a few times, and I think Jamstack seems like a really interesting technology. It basically renders out flat sites, so it basically automates all the coding, or a lot of the coding that happens, and makes flat sites instead of, that are obviously much quicker to load because it does all the back-end coding
rendering and everything.
It's good for like pushing out to international as well, because it's, the idea is it goes across, because it builds one system and then compiles it and builds it, and then it just disseminates through the Jamstack system. And it just seems like an interesting technology. It seems like where a lot of technology is going, and it becomes like more stable in its own way, because it's like you can't put injection scripts into it because it just doesn't have all the scripts in there because it's not there.
Got it.
We are also trying to, we're thinking about a blog to try and talk about, and we're doing a podcast where we're going to be interviewing people. Like Daniel's been busy, so he's not got around to interviewing me yet. But we're doing interviewing. We're trying to get content about the interesting stuff people are getting involved with. The SEO side of stuff, we do need to definitely needs improving. I'm sure you've had a quick look at it and you've come up with some stuff you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a basic audit of sorts. I think I still have to get my hands in, get dirty with the whole thing. Also, I think I'll talk to Rohan whenever he gets the time. I'll sync up with him, get a hang of what's the situation, get a basic run around the middle like you've given me.
SEO stuff. If you just if you use communications, communications website related, just discussing there, you probably get people chiming in. There's only like 40 people or so in there because it's only the people who
so that's easy.
Website. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, thank you very much for your time. I mean, I've taken an hour and a half of your time up, pretty much.
That's okay. That's fine. All right. Let me quickly work on that Miro board and share something with you guys, and let's sync up sometime soon.
Yep. Cool. I'm gonna probably put the link on there for the branding to get some thoughts, because there's a PDF on there that Meredith's made, and again, I might just put it in somewhere to get some more thoughts on it, because obviously my thought is obviously of some value, but collectively we end up with better answers with more people.
Yeah, precisely. All right. Sounds like a plan. So I think I kind of have my next few action items in place. So let me get at it.
Great.
All right. Thanks for your time, Tyler.
See you later,
Great talking to you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
See you, brother. See you, bye.
Bye-bye.